Hey friends, in today's video we're going to talk about my Season 20 Titan PvP loadouts. Now before you watch this one, I recommend you watch my PvP meta Season 20 video, which breaks down a lot of why I would choose things today that I'm going to gloss over. But here we go, all 10. This is my fun one, which is the feedback fence. Believe it or not, something like this was my Season 1 loadout. A lot of people back in the day did not know these 110 RPM hand cannons could 3-tap. That's back when 1 second time to kill was more normalized. But nowadays, 150 RPM hand cannons like Sunshot kill at 0.8 instead of what used to be 1 second. Anyhow, history lesson aside, let's talk about this build. So first, we do have a 120 RPM hand cannon with Swashbuckler, because I am doing a lot of punching because of Knockout. Feedback Fence, while it is kind of a Season 1 throwback, it's really effective because we're in Season 20. That is 20 seasons of Destiny players, also Destiny 1, of just hitting the melee button when you're near somebody. You don't even check twice. So that little bit of chip damage is enough for me to shoot the hand cannon once, melee back, and secure the kill. And Dune Marchers, for example, they work against groups. Feedback works against single targets and the groups, and it doesn't require me to be good at the game. I can just sit behind a towering barricade, and if somebody hits me, I might trade. Added in Season 20 is Spark of Instinct. While critically wounded, taking damage emits a burst of damaging arc energy that jolts targets. So this is kind of like Dune Marchers at home for getting hit, and it stacks on top of the feedback fence. So by combination of I melee, I shoot, they break shield, they get jolted, teammates near them, I get health back, maybe I shoulder charge into it. This has magical 1v3 potential that you would never believe unless you saw the Waltz of the Armadillo Man video from a couple days ago. As far as what weapons I use with this, I built it for kinetic, but sometimes I will switch over to Strand. I opted to forego one of the kinetic aims since I'm rarely using my primary. It's mostly just fighting Lion. However, if I feel like switching my loadout, I will switch it to triple Strand aim and then trade out between the Immortal and the round ramen. But for now, let me show you how I do my Destiny item manager organization. So anything that I feel like remotely using in Season 20, I will just make the build, just so I can have it. But if it's in my slots, my loadout slots, I will mark it exactly as they appear in the slots. I label it this way so it goes to the bottom, because I'm not touching these that often. And the reason I do that is, like, let's say I'm about to play Gambit for a couple hours or do a couple nightfalls or maybe do a raid speedrun or something, and I need to free up 4 spaces to work with PvE, then I'll just remove these. And there's no problem because they're saved exactly the way I like them on Dim. So anyway, what I want to show you in Dim is the weapons. These are the weapons that get transferred over. These are not all the weapons I use on Titan, but these are the ones that are most likely to be used by my Titan, no matter what the map and mode. Obviously, if it's a specific weekend of Trials of Osiris, like let's say it's Eternity, and I know I won't need half of these weapons, then I'll just throw them away or put them in the vault, and then I'll switch them to something that does make sense for the map. Maybe I want like Witherhoard in my inventory to specifically play against Behemoth Titans or something like that. So that's what I'll do. Let's start at the top and then start working my way back down. So this is a Dune Marcher Titan with kinetic unflinching. Now, what's important is that I keep my fragments and my aspects nearly identical across all my builds so that if I swap during a match, I don't lose all of my abilities. There is the not swap modifier in Trials, which means if I switch my Dune Marcher pairs, I think I still lose my super, so I'm going to be cognizant of that, but it's not the end of the world. I just want the nice stat splits. Now, if you notice in the past, I typically go for 10 discipline. However, this season, I'm finding intellect to be much more beneficial due to the way the game is playing out. I feel like I have my nade mostly when I need it, and I don't feel like I have my super as soon as other teams. I've started to build into distribution and into dynamo to try to get my super even faster. Another thing I built into this season is the siphon mod. So harmonic siphon, get arc rapid weapon kills. Maybe I use my matador or something like that. It makes an orb of light, and if I pick that up, I get armor charges as well as I get health and shields back and ability energy back. And that can be an absolute reversal. Think about it. I use my barricade with the Reaper mod, which is really broken, by the way. You should be using this. Use class ability. Next weapon final blow spawns an orb of power. So think about this. If my weapon gets a kill, it makes an orb, I get my health back. If my melee gets a kill, I get my health back anyway. So that is why Arc Titan is that strong. Also, with Touch of Thunder, lightning nades jolt on the first hit, which does hit other barricades. So it's like, if I'm playing against Titans, I need to use a Titan to counter Titans. It's tier 0 meta. Okay, now the second option. Speaking of tier 0 metas. This is similar armor, but with a solar unflinching, so that I can use Igneous Hammer and Conditional Finality. I think the better version of this loadout is antaeus word. But if I run this, my opponents will not be happy. So I have a Dune Marcher loadout so that I can play other opponents and they're happy to rematch me. If I use antaeus, they message me something very nasty and then I never see them again, and then the queue takes 10 minutes. Or I use dunes and they want to replay me. So that is why I have both of these so close together and so similar on stat splits. Since Titan always gets to 10 resilience, I don't have to go triple unflinching, but I do. Note, in the past, I have said that I don't want to mess with seasonal artifact mods because I'll have to end up changing it at the end of the season. So I'd rather have something that's a little more permanent so I can learn to use it over time. The thing is, I think this armor mod system is so underdeveloped that it's most likely going to get significant changes in the future that I'm going to have to adjust anyway. Also, I think a couple things in the meta are going to change. And also, the loadout system is really, really, really good. I love it. Thank you, Bungie. For that reason, I don't mind building into artifact mods because it's really easy to keep track of everything and just do it again. On Dim, I will make notes sometimes. Maybe it has notes, something like that. Some of my armor has like a note on it for its specific purpose. So that helps whenever I move to a next season with what I want to delete. If it was some niche item, it has a note like, do not delete this. It's used for a PK build that has this stat split or something. I go pretty into it, but y'all like that. This is the kinetic version of the antaeus ward build. Then we're moving to peacekeepers. Let's do the Strand peacekeepers. Alright, here's where the dislike ratio... Wait, that's not a thing anymore. Yeah, everybody wants this. I'm sorry that I got it. I don't even use it that much. Only 72 kills, and it came out how long ago? It is that good, though. You see I have 3 mobility on my peacekeepers. Peacekeepers give an invisible 5 tiers of mobility. I could try to go for like 5, 10, 9, but I specifically went for 3 because I want to keep these same exact fragments because I never know when I'm going to have to bust out the immortal. You might also be saying, why are you using a Dord? It's such a basic sniper. Well, that's exactly why I'm using a Dord. It's 45 zoom. I'm used to that with the Macabre and as well as Eye of Soul. I'm just waiting for Bungie to re-release this sniper. Past that, yeah, pretty standard peacekeeper loadout. Again, building into dynamo distribution where I could fit it. Sometimes switching to thruster for fun, or if I'm playing console. We'll plan on playing console more. Then we have a solar version. Might be saying, why a solar version? Well, if someone on the enemy team has antaeus ward, I need a way to deal with it. And so then I switch to my almost perfect borrowed time. Yes, I know that you can get the field tested origin trait, and I'll go for that later, but for now, this is probably going to be as good as it gets for me, so I'm just going to enjoy this. If I'm on console, might switch to tap the trigger, but Swashbuckler is incredible. And something that I learned that I will eventually add to this build is that Solar Weapon Surge is absolutely worth it on the aggressive frame SMGs because it'll get you down to that next TTK shift. It's not noticeable on Drang, for example, very noticeable on Borrowed Time or Teraba. Speaking of Teraba, that's the other reason that I have Solar Unflinching. Teraba is still a force to be reckoned with. Even when it gets its zoom reduced to 15, it's still going to be a force to be reckoned with. Okay, next up is, wow, more antaeus words? Oh, void antaeus words. How could I have forgotten? This is the solar one, right? So same thing. This is my igneous hammer. Quick draw snapshot. I wish that this had extended mag and I would never farm for it again. But whenever it's available, I'm just going to go for a similar roll, but with extended mag for aerial effectiveness. Or I'm going to go for ricochet rounds so I can use it with T-steps. Yeah. I also have Drang for whenever I play controller. And then I also have Polaris Lance for if it's a huge map and I need a scout rifle. Or if I'm like using peacekeepers and I know that 2 sniper bullets are not going to be enough, I have Jade Rabbit and No Time to Explain and DMT. DMT has a specialized loadout for later though. So these are my void fragments. I think I just went into the one-eyed mass fragment, which I still can't believe is in the game. Minus 10 recovery, but if you win your gunfight, this doesn't have to be from a marked target from anybody. You get a 40 health overshield. If I pick up an orb, I get Devour. Let's remind us how we make orbs. If I throw Barricade and get a weapon kill, I get an orb. I don't know why I have Better Already and Recoup here, but it's probably safe to say I just left it blank because I'm just going to add surges to it later, or with the specific loadout, I'm going to switch to holsters. Holsters are really good, so it doesn't surprise me that I left it blank as a template. Oh, there's the surges. That's where I put them. I didn't mention this in the weapon meta video, but there are some weapons in this game that are really good with surges. So if you think about it, I pop a Barricade, Reaper. I get a Thorn kill. Soul Devourer off of Thorn. Reloads my ammo. I pick up the orb. I have Devour. I won the gunfight. I have an overshield. Now the surges activate because I picked up the orb. Thorn 2 taps. All resiliences. I get my health back again for winning that gunfight because of Devour. If I pick up 2 kills back to back with my Thorn, it drops another orb. I had an overshield for dropping my Barricade in the first place. Do y'all see how wild this is? And if all of that fails, my opponent cannot hurt me because of antaeus ward. There's a reason that I have a Dune swap. Nobody wants to play against this. Nobody. Everybody wants to play against feedback fence though. That's where we started today's video. So this is mostly like my fun swap. But this is my real fun swap. Got the space cowboy look. Spent forever in the dungeon to get that. And here's the loadout. If I want my opponent to hate me, Empty Vessel, Outrageous Fortune. If I want them to rematch, just throw on a shotgun, don't overthink it. DMT Lion Rampant, still one of my favorite loadouts. Behemoth with Cryo Slide, incredible. You can sprint cancel out of the slide, start your jump again, and then use the melee to change direction rapidly, and then land and chain another slide. It's really, really good. Then I have Rhyme for Overshield. Now, compared to what I just showed you with the Void Titan, its survivability is not very good. Even with getting resist from glaciers, I just really like playing this class, even though it's not as good. I think for it to be more competitive, it has to have a slightly different, faster charging super. Other than that, even in 6s, I still like this. I use the Glacier Nade to platform and get odd angles. Like I said, I just cancel the slide to move around places really quick. And I just overall like DMT because if I'm good at aiming that day, I just win more matches with DMT than any other gun. But if I'm bad, I should just use No Time to Explain and not Lion Rampant. I think that really covers it, so I'm going to be sure to highlight over fragment choices on my different builds again, just in case some of y'all have been skipping through the video. I think these are the same. Yup. I should mention that on some builds I go firepower, and on most of them I go heavy-handed. If it's not a good grenade, I don't care about firepower and I'll put something else on. But heavy-handed procs all the time, even without the shoulder charge. Just if you have the charge available, but you punch them normally, you'll still get an orb. Just highlighting these. I'm not going to put dim links to all of these. I think that covers this video. As far as the other weapons in my inventory, Ragnhild shotgun with elemental capacitor so that when I play Arc, it has a lot of handling. Allied Demand for Skulking Wolf for when I play controller. Rangefinder Eye of the Storm. This is my empty vessel with Disruption Break, autoloading Spike. Proxy's really good on that, by the way. This is my placeholder Retold Tale. It does work with the artifact perk this season, but I really want Quick Draw right here. I just can't get it yet, so I have my Copium roll. My power weapon, I think you can get this from Dares, but don't break your back trying. It's a remote detonation launcher and pulls 4 off the wall, but I mostly like it because it's a skill shot. This is my info stick, unobtainable roll, threat detector, and danger zones. You can see how many people are around you. Archon's Thunder, Skulking Wolf, and High Impact Reserves lets me 4-tap. Eager Edge, Black Talon's the best power weapon for 3s. Wardcliff is a really good M&K power weapon. I'm probably going to change the roll on this at some point, but High Impact Reserves and 4 times the charm does work in PvP. High Impact Reserves sort of like an artificial range, and then 4 times lets you pull way more ammo effectively off of the wall. This is my info grenade launcher. I also use it for grenade lineups with the aim down sights. And I just rolled one of these Reed's Regrets now that it's focusable. It's not adept, but it really doesn't matter to me until we can make enhanced perks off of adepts. Hipfire Grip and Adagio. After a kill, it starts body shotting. And I don't need liquid coils to do that. What I do need liquid coils for is for like Radiant or something, or Lumina or something, to let me body shot initially, which helps proc Adagio where I don't have to aim for the head at all. Ideally, I'd want accelerated coils though if I'm playing Titan. It's just my universal Reed's Regret. Anyway, friends, I hope you learned something new in today's video. Hope you appreciate my builds, and after watching that meta video, it all makes sense as to why I choose these things. Take care, and see you in tomorrow's for Warlock.